When I was living in California, I experienced this phenomenon I heard referred to as California nice. So people were really friendly and open, and people would often talk to you, strangers at ice cream stores, supermarkets, on the beach, wherever you were, and they would talk to you like you had some kind of acquaintanceship, and they were very open and friendly and down to earth. And I don't think this is a phenomenon exclusive to California, but I did notice it was pretty substantial in Southern California, in Los Angeles, where I was living. And it was nice. It was very endearing. As somebody who's neurodivergent, I learned very quickly to take that at face value and realize that that didn't necessarily mean because someone was friendly, they wanted to be my friend. It was just kind of the social currency of how people interacted. And I reciprocated and returned that, but I always went into it with an expectation that this person might say something and might not necessarily be true at all. It's just them engaging in social grooming. And so if somebody said to me, "Oh, we should totally hang out," I would interpret that as, "We should totally not. You're just being nice." And I might have missed genuine cues for that reason, but because of my neurodivergence, I just didn't know how to assess and read them. So I often didn't even attempt to. I would just assume it was a social nicety, and often it felt like that was the case. And I think as many neurodivergents go into social situations, they confront some version of this California nice, even if it's not necessarily in California, where people socially front. They present a self, they're very nice, they engage in social grooming, and they go through that struggle of wondering whether the friendliness actually means that person wants to be friends, or they want to get to know you and, share vulnerability, share your life story, all the kind of things that come with, I think, the deeper friendships. And it can be paralyzing, and it can be demoralizing when you pick the wrong person and you open up and share your neurodivergence, whether in my case it's like wanting to motor mouth about something I'm passionate about, or wanting to go very deep very soon and be very blunt and direct in my communication style and my dark sense of humor. That can be very alienating to people who aren't necessarily ready. And so what do we do when we're trying to navigate social interactions and not run afoul of neurotypicals and their expectations? And how do we parse people's, often superficial or routine or ritualistic niceness or politeness? I find the best strategy is to treat it like a relay race. When I was growing up in Australia for physical education, we would often do this relay race where we'd be given a baton and we'd have to run a distance and then hand the baton off to another team member. There was a line of them, and then they would run back and then hand it off to another person. I think social interactions are most successful when we treat it like a relay race where we're passing a conversational baton. We share a little bit, they share a little bit. We talk a little bit, they talk a little bit. You're just pacing yourself, serving in teaspoons and not tablespoons. And through that pacing process, not overwhelming the other person, generally, gradually building an acquaintanceship with the person and building comfort, so you can see if that person is ready to go deeper and to build a stronger friendship or progress beyond acquaintanceship. By pacing yourself, you're less likely to overstep, you're less likely to say the wrong thing or to alienate somebody, and you're more likely to gather information so you can read people correctly and respond appropriately. Have you used strategies like this before in your social interactions? What works for you when you're interacting with neurotypicals? How do you modulate your neurodivergence so that you can be as socially successful as possible? What does social grooming look like to you? Do you do it as somebody who's neurodivergent, or do you just find the whole business insane and illogical? I would love to hear from you.